Again, buckle up. Rough roads ahead. So, hospital shootings are definitely up. I've said something a certain way on purpose, if possible. Kind of, can we fix it? Can we add anything to anything? Because, again, you have to know how to look at things realistically and truthfully. If an officer isn't following an SOP, because that's what I'm saying is the SOPs maybe it took a long time to get these SOPs into place, and a lot of pain and suffering at times over the decades. If an officer is not adhering to an SOP, there's a lot of different reasons. Sometimes it's not the officer's fault, and if the officer's tired, and I know NYPD is under strength, and probably Chicago PD is under strength. So if you're having an issue where officers aren't following an SOP, a lot of places will try to burn somebody, and that isn't always the best. You actually might cause people to leave department, people and have worse of an issue, or have somebody, people with bad attitudes, or do something back and forth, start a a click war in a precinct or in a police department, or try to get the boss out and the new boss in. A lot of different weird things. So most likely, Chicago Police Department is under strength. Officers are tired. So if you end up with a SOP issue where somebody didn't follow an SOP, you can't just leave it at that. You have to figure out what you can do. Larger cups of coffee for free. I don't know. So, but there are maybe enhancements. Nationally, there are SOPs. Chicago might benefit from something in a New Orleans SOP, and vice versa. New Orleans might benefit from something in a Chicago SOP. Containment facilities. I didn't even read it because it's just I'm going to read it later. But it's just the idea that hospital shootings are up and we need to at least try to heal it metaphysically. And you can't heal it by saying, Lord, and may you kill anyone who tries to shoot me while I'm at the hospital. Because if your will is strong enough for someone to be shot, it could cause the actual incident to begin with. So you have to be careful what you pray for at times. And you can fix that by parameters. Just say, I could never pray for anything that's going to hurt me or hurt other people. I give it to the Lord. I pray it. The Lord knows what my heart wants. And, just do the best you can, Lord, because I'm just a fallen human refuse. These bodies are horrible. These minds are horrible compared to what our original form were. I don't mean to say it that way, but it really, the Lord said he meant it, though. Said something in the back of my mind. So again, I don't know what everybody's SOP is. Again, put the heart in it that nobody gets harmed, not even the criminal. Again, that's the key. For a criminal to be harmed, sometimes an officer has to be killed. So you have to be careful on those type of things. If you're willing a criminal to be killed or harmed, it may take the officer to be killed before that happens. Because then, when everybody's looking for the criminal, they shoot him. Ask questions later. So you have to be careful of that stuff. And that's why in God's world, you might have the best cop in the world go to hell, and the biggest, cop killer go to heaven because you possessed him to it. Because your girlfriend liked him, and you couldn't deal with it. So you wanted everybody in the police department to kill him. And then next thing you know, he shot a cop, killed the cop. That's how it works. Sometimes. Jealous boyfriends, believe me, are the root of a lot of evil. Especially when they're police department. So, yeah, just work on the system. You might find that again. Everybody cuts corners when they're tired. Right. So again, you might find that it's that, but again, see, it's just that thought process. Important to understand that if somebody is not adhering to the SOP, what is it? Again, you know you're under strength, and you know you're overworked. So again, that begins that motion or that movement, I should say, in the direction of actually healing. Being truthful about the situation can actually, heal you, set you free from hospital shootings. And I put officer involved hospital shootings because they're no better. We don't want to have to do that, right? So again, the general climate in hospitals has changed. It's metaphysics at minimum. But a lot of gunplay in hospitals, a lot of other stuff. A lot of crazy stuff happened in hospitals, and they have for time immemorial. But the reality being that it's probably getting worse. Right. So again, look at the issues. Go over all at least the FBI, DHS should have somebody just look at all those hospital shootings and see if they can come up with some suggestions for the state and locals, or maybe even state and locals do it. You got somebody, an analyst that can pull everything out. Somebody retired that's an analyst. Maybe you want to hire one or two to have the retirement and then some more pay. Getting expensive to live. And we don't feel like, and they don't actually, I'm part of them, but we don't feel like stocking it at Home Depot. Make us an analyst. That's serious. You can always hire some cops back as analysts and just throw all the data at them and try to have them brainstorm. You got some great detectives who can brainstorm all that data and come up with ideas. And you don't want to take an active duty one because, of course, that makes it worse because they're not on the street. Right. So anybody that you have might be older, retired, can use a little bit of money, sit around with a cup of coffee and the data and computers and AI and everything else, and try to figure out how to fix what's broken. Again, AI might tell you how to hire new cops. I don't know. Maybe, did anybody run it past AI? Probably need to do that. Ask AI. We have this problem. We're under strength. How do we get new cops? I mean, it might be stupid. Somebody come back with stupid, like a second grader wrote it. Like, this is AI. It's like a second grader gave me suggestions. A second grader that voted Democrat for the last 30 years. That's why I'm wondering if it's actually them hacking me. But yeah, I'd run it past AI, see if AI can figure out how to get, at your levels, things that you can control, because it'll probably throw a bunch of stuff you can't control at you if you don't specify it. So officer involved shootings where somebody is shot and killed or shot and wounded in a hospital is no better. So we need to look at those also as to why the officer needed to do that. Because again, that's probably like some of those are probably like 1 inch away of going the other way. Well, I didn't read it, but on some of those, if the officer, again, that's it's 6 to 1 after the other, the search. Well, the question is, if you create a secure environment where the officer doesn't have a weapon, again, sometimes that's the issue where the inmate gets the officer's weapon, or the prisoner, I guess, whatever you call it at that point. Well, you create a weaponless environment, but if you didn't find a weapon on the individual then gets a weapon and you don't have one, if they snuck one in, right? And those people people that you arrest put weapons a lot of different weird places. Sometimes it takes an X-ray to find it. Again, we're stuck on that, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Which is probably maybe where you are also in some of these Damned if you do, damned if you don't is is a curse. So again, we can heal the damned if you do, damned if you don't. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Rafa. Well, because yeah, I don't know. I imagine this was off the street type of thing, or maybe not. I'll actually read it. But again, there's just so many of them. I'm saying, well, I'm just going to put something out, and I'll get to specifics later. Because again, it isn't just about the shooting in Chicago. There's enough shootings in hospitals that we need to start looking at what's going on there. And it's just like some crazy thing, where you have to, the nurse wants somebody to leave, they don't leave, or there's somebody's sneaking around the hospital, going in people's rooms, and then it ends up something crazy. Right. All right. So I don't know. I'm not going to bring up anything specific. We just need to get to it and understand that officer involved hospital shootings are bad too. So we have to figure out what caused that. Because again, an officer involved shooting could be, especially when we see these hospital type of appointments and things like, it's usually taking the weapon of the officer, or in some cases, secreted weapons or something like that. Or just, you know, Speedy Gonzalez. Yeah, yeah. Officer, could you? And then boom, he's gone. Just so I can use the bathroom, officer. And that's it. So again, we need to figure out we need to get ahead of the power curve. That's what they call it. If we can. Again, you might find that staffing and officers overworked may be your biggest enemy. All right, stay peaceful, praise God in all that you do. Praise God. But again, run that past AI. AI may tell you how to change the paradigm in officer hiring.